Hi, this is Agnes Wolf with Authors Alcove. Today we have Melanie Herschorn, an author and founder of VIP Book Marketing, where she helps nonfiction and children's book authors market their book. If you're interested in her book that comes out in November, or this month, I believe, it's called Make a Big Impact with Your Book. Or you can check out her services on her website, which I will have in the show notes. And feel free to check that out because there's this cute little freebie that is very helpful called Ultimate Book Marketing Checklist. Hi, welcome, Melanie.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
For starters, can you just share a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So, I could go on for a long time because I've lived 44 long years, but I'll try to be really concise. I am a book marketing strategist, and I help authors not only market, but publish their books so that they can make a big impact with their ideas and also create new streams of revenue because book sales only get you so far.
So what inspired you to begin your book marketing company?
This is the long story part. So I'm going to do my best, Agnes, because I want to make sure that it is concise. So I started out in my career in celebrity PR, and I was walking red carpets and writing press releases and doing lots of fun things in Hollywood. And when I was told off by a famous redheaded comedian on my birthday twice, I decided that I needed a new career move. So I, not overnight, but soon went to graduate school and got a master's in journalism. And then I was working as a radio news anchor and reporter. And I did that for a few years. And then when I was pregnant with my first child, they laid me off. So yeah. So then I was kind of like a deer in headlights going, oh my God, I'm a journalist. I am nothing if I have no job. And, I did some soul searching and I realized, I had another idea. This could be the time that I design and manufacture breastfeeding clothing. So again, not a natural progression, but I did that. And I sold my designs on Nordstrom.com and on Amazon and in boutiques. And it was so gratifying, but I didn't take home any money ever in the 7 years that I had this business. And so that was, a good learning example there. But also I hired somebody to help me with my marketing. And that was then the beginning of the end of my business because she was toxic. She would, belittle me and tell me I was boring and say, how could you have a master's degree? You're so boring when you write. And it's really started to penetrate my brain. And I really started to think that I was bad and useless and, all the bad things. And I lost my confidence. And so I shut the business. And then I kind of took some time and I said, I can't just twiddle my thumbs. Yes, I'm a mom of two, but still I need something for myself. And so I decided to start marketing because that was kind of the through line of my entire career. PR, journalism, helping, moms in the fourth trimester feel good about themselves. And then when authors started calling me out of the blue, it happened 3 times before I got the message, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And so not only do I help them market, but I also have begun helping, people who have businesses and ideas, and they say, you know what, I want to write a book. And now I help take them from the writing through the editing, through the publishing, through the marketing, so that not only do they have a published book, but they are also, making an impact with it, which is the piece that's often missing.
So why did you end up choosing to specialize specifically in children's and nonfiction writing?
Because they have missions behind them. And it is so much fun to create a movement based on a mission. If you have just an idea, not just, but an idea for a story, that's wonderful. And stories are great. And I love fiction. But when you market fiction, you're marketing the book itself. And when you market nonfiction or children's books with a mission, you're marketing the author and the ideas. And I think that that's really what I gravitate toward.
So how would you help your clients' books stand out among the rest of them? Like, what do you do to do
Yeah,
that?
because there are like 4 million that get published every year. And the statistics are really, really like sad. Like so something like 90% of self-published authors only sell 100 books. And that's not good, because you want to do more than sell books, right? We don't make a lot of money selling our books. We want to do the other thing. So how do I help an author stand out? Well, the first thing we do is help them create their marketing platform, the foundation upon which everything will be built. So once you have messaging that really resonates with your ideal reader, that's when the magic happens. So I help them create a marketing strategy to build the foundation. And then we move to the next piece, which is leveraging other people's platforms. So pitching yourself to podcasts, pitching yourself to stages and to the media. And then the third piece is creating new revenue streams from your book. So, for example, if you had a book and you wanted to create a course based on it, or if you had a children's book and you wanted to create stuffed animals that you want to sell in addition to. So there's so many different ways to continue to monetize a book beyond the book sales itself.
That's really interesting. So what are some things that you specifically work with an author with that would benefit them more than just them trying to do it on their own? I know you shared a lot of them right in here, but I'm wondering if there's others too.
I mean, sure, like the sky's the limit. It just depends on what your book is about. So what I will say is having somebody who's done it before, with helped authors guide you, somebody who's seen the mistakes and who can help you avoid those mistakes, is going to be very, very helpful. Because, sure, you can Google anything, right? I Googled how to have a clothing design business and I did it, right? I did it all on Google, but it took me a really long time and I made a whole lot of mistakes. Whereas if I had had a mentor, I think that things would have been different. But then again, I wouldn't have ended up right here talking to you right now. So I'd rather be here. All that to say, I'll give you an example. So I have a client, Christina, who's got a children's book series all about this elephant named Bella, who learns to communicate her feelings. And then she takes those feelings and that communication strategy, and she helps a friend who's going through a similar issue in every book. So Christina is so she's not only is she the author, but she's also the illustrator of the books. So she's such a creative, wonderful human, and her mission is so strong and beautiful. And so what we're doing is we're building out an influencer marketing campaign. She's got celebrities now who have her book and who are posting about her book. She's got so many different things in the making. She's also got a course right now that she's going to be launching very soon about how to find the right illustrator for your children's book, because she's got the ins and outs of it being an illustrator. So those are just different ways to stand out and to monetize based on the book series, which in and of itself is awesome. It's just, getting the word out in different ways. Because if you just rely on one way, that's not necessarily going to be good for you, because, it's about diversifying. Any financial person will say, you want to diversify. Well, I guess that's what we're doing with your book. We're diversifying.
So at what point during the creative process should they be reaching out to you? Should it be after they've published?
Well, if it's for the marketing piece alone, then anytime between writing and after you've published, up in a year or 2 years, if your book is evergreen. So pretty much any time when you realize that marketing is what's going to move the needle for your book, I'm here. And if you have an idea and you want to bring it to life and to publish it and to market it, then come to me too, because that's something else that I can help with, taking your idea and bringing it to fruition.
So what are some of, what platforms would you recommend for somebody who may not be using your services, but who would like that type of advice?
Okay. Well, this is a very difficult question to answer because I don't know what their book is about. So if their book is about, I'm just going to throw out random things. So if their book is about financial planning, I would recommend that they are on LinkedIn and that they grow an email list and that they are reaching out to podcasts where people interested in financial planning are listening. If their book is life coaching and business coaching, and it's for women who are, 30 to 40, I think you should be on Instagram and TikTok even. And I think you should be sharing that out there and also growing your email list and also speaking on summits and on podcasts. So it really depends where your ideal reader is hanging out, the advice that I would give, because there is so much noise out there in the world. And Agnes, you know this, people tell us, do this, do that. You need to be here. You need to be there. And it's enough to make us want to curl up in a ball and hide under a really cozy blanket. I've actually hid under a cozy blanket, so I speak from experience. You don't have to be everywhere. Just be where your people are and get really good at that.
That's really good advice. So let's just shift to your book, Make a Big Impact with your book. Do you mind sharing some of the key topics in your book?
I don't mind at all. This is very exciting. So it's the subheading is author marketing strategies for long-term success. And so that's what it is. I go into why cookie cutter marketing doesn't work, how to figure out who your ideal reader is, how to find them, how to market to them, what you can do with your book. I help people dream bigger than the book. And there are questions in there that you can to reflect upon so that you can sort of make it your own. And there are also extra resources of books you can read and other things so that it's kind of a holistic way of looking at your book, more than the book itself. It's what can your book do for you?
So one of the top chapters you have is called What is Content Marketing? And so I'm going to ask you, what is content marketing?
Okay. Content marketing is a buzzword for the words that we put out. It's the things we say. It's the value we provide. It's the information. It's the entertainment. Pretty much anything you post can be considered content. And the great thing about your book is that it's all in there already. You just have to extract it and repurpose it for whatever it is that you do. Maybe it's for a blog post. Maybe it's for social media posts. Maybe it's for an email newsletter.
You've talked a lot about knowing, when you were talking about the platform, you're talking about knowing your audience. How would you narrow down to know who your particular audience is? I know because it's going to be different for no matter what type of book you have, but how would you narrow that down?
Mm-hmm. So who's your audience? Because once you figure out who they are, then it's very easy to determine where they are. So, and I have resources available. There's one right on my website, actually. So you can see the ages and basically the demographics of who's looking at and spending time on particular platforms. And also the other piece that I think a lot of people miss is where do you feel comfortable? Because if you feel like you have to post on Instagram, but it makes you itchy, you're not going to do it. You're going to be reluctant about it. So, and there are lots of successful people who don't use social media at all. So there isn't one tried and true way to do it. It's what feels good to you, because then you're going to actually do it.
I know that you guys are more, or is it more than just you, or are you, I know you're the founder of VIP Marketing. Do you have a staff, or is it just you?
I have a team in that I have, assistants, and I also have a partner who is helping me in the publishing arm. So but I'm the face of VIP book marketing. So.
So you guys are more of a custom marketing strategy. So can you define a difference between a custom marketing strategy and a cookie cutter strategy?
Sure.
Or marketing, excuse me.
Oh, yes, absolutely. So cookie cutter, I made $14,000 in 5 minutes. drop an emoji below and I'll give you my exact plan on how I did it. Right? We see that everywhere, right? So then you go and you get suckered in because you think this is your silver bullet, and then they give you maybe a template or some questions to answer, and then you realize that just because it worked for them doesn't mean it's going to work for you, because maybe they haven't even written a book. Maybe they are a business coach. And so all of a sudden you realize that you can't do what everybody else is doing and expect to get a different result. So it's about knowing what your book is about. It's about knowing what your mission is, because nobody in the entire world has the exact same mission. I was talking to somebody the other day, an author, and she was saying, well, a lot of people have written books about this, so I know mine's not really going to stand out. And I went, whoa, hold on a moment. That is not the way we want to think about this. Sure. Have other people written about marketing their books? Yeah. Did that stop me from writing my book? No, because I come at it from what makes me me. So this is really about branding too. So what's your brand voice? Meaning, how do you speak? What are the things that are important to you? For me, it's honesty and integrity and making people feel really good about themselves. Those are my three. So, and like feeling supported, because I love to make people feel happy about their work and stuff like that. So all that to say, you can't really be yourself when you're using somebody else's exact template, exactly how they used it. And it's going to land in not a great way. It's going to be, unfortunately, not very exciting because they've already seen it before.
For those that are looking for your services, who would be your ideal client that would be interested in going to your website, trying to contact you, seeing if you guys are a good match? Who would be your ideal client?
So somebody who has a mission, they have written a book and they want to do something with it. They want to leverage their book to get on stages or to build a movement, to, create new revenue streams of courses, or they want to create a podcast. They really want to provide value in this world, make money doing it, and become a thought leader. And whether they've written a nonfiction book or they've written a children's book, we can help them do that because, like I said, it's all about the mission and doing something customized to you.
If someone wants to work with you, what would be the best way to contact you?
Oh, I'm everywhere. Email, email is good, or, through my website, or on Instagram, LinkedIn, on Facebook. You can join my Facebook group. There are all sorts of ways. If you go to VIP Book Marketing, you'll find us everywhere, basically. Yeah. But email is always great because I'm an obsessive checker of email. I wish I wasn't, but I am. So yeah, you'll hear from me.
I know you had also mentioned that you had published a book, I believe it with a group of other people. Is that correct? Do you mind sharing a little bit about that story or that book, excuse me?
No. Oh my gosh, I would love to. Thank you. So it's not about book marketing, right? Or publishing, but I woke up one morning and I had this idea in my head. I couldn't get it out. And I was like, okay, crazy person, like, let it go. You're not the one who's going to produce this book. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to take a leap of faith. And I had this idea to create a manual for women entrepreneurs in the first 5 years of business. And these are the crucial first 5 years. I mean, look, you heard about my 7-year business where I didn't take home $1. There are so many things that we do wrong. And so the goal of this book is to help not only answer the questions that women entrepreneurs have, but to answer the questions they don't even know that they have yet. So I have it under a pile of things right here. So it is called Mission Possible: Successful Women Entrepreneurs Sharing Step-by-Step How to Become One. And each chapter talks about something different. So it could be knowing your numbers, or finding the right mentor, or what really do you need on your website, or what is the importance of community and how do you find one? Or I could just go on forever here. I'll just say one more. Messaging, which is the chapter that I wrote about, making sure that what you're saying is landing and resonating with your ideal reader, your ideal client, your ideal customer. So this book was a labor of love. It is just so great. And we've had such great response to it that it's enough to make me want to cry tears of joy, like ugly cry. I actually had a woman make a Zoom meeting with me just to meet, and I wasn't sure what it was about. And she just wanted to tell me that this book has helped her in her business. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is exactly why we did this. Thank you. And so that's what this is. And it's available on Amazon, and proceeds are going to go to a charity for women entrepreneurs as well. So like I said, it's a labor of love. It is to help women because, gosh, we don't have it easy. We really don't. We're business owners and, I love my husband dearly. He works very hard and he does his thing. And I do most of the rest of it, So having that manual is just, the goal is to make women's lives just a little bit easier. So you have that trusted friend in a book.
I do know that like a lot of us that are writers, a lot of us are going the self-publishing route, and in that we are entrepreneurs, because you cannot self-publish if you're not going to be being an entrepreneur. So I think that's really helpful. One of the things that you had said that I wanted to ask about was, you said if it sits right with your audience. Can you just expound on that a little bit?
Absolutely.
How do you know when it sits right?
Well, they'll tell you. It sounds silly, right? But they'll let you know. They'll like your comments. They will write a comment. They will reach out to you. They'll attend an event that you're holding, and your audience will grow. So one of the things that I have going for me is that I'll send out a mass email and people will reply. Like they reply to the email because they know that there's a person behind the email. So one way to know if something's resonating is to ask your ideal reader, does this make sense to you? What do you want to hear? People love to talk about themselves, right? And anytime we go on social media or pretty much anything at all we're really thinking is what's in it for me. So if you ask them, what would you like? They'll tell you. There's also that like, when it comes to dating, people will say, people tell you who they are. It's your audience will tell you what they want.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate you being on here, but I do ask everybody this question, whether you're you are an author as well, or an editor or anything, a marketer. If you had one piece of advice for those of us who are not yet published authors, what would be that advice you would give us?
You got this. So don't let what everybody else around you is saying stop you from sharing your message. You will hear a lot of people saying a lot of things, and they're not an expert in this. So do not listen to them, even if their voices are super duper loud. Trust and believe. I have had to do this. In fact, I called my dentist. This is an interesting story. I called my dentist last week and I said, I'm chickening out of the procedure because I just don't think I can go through with it. And the woman on the phone said, well, it's going to do X, Y, and Z. And I went, oh, you know what? I listened to my dad. And this is not the first time I've listened to my dad and not my intuition. So I said, forget it. I'll be there. All that to say, if your dad has a very loud voice, a very strong opinion, doesn't mean that dad knows. Okay. You know in your heart that you are meant to be an author. And because you're listening to this podcast, You already have resources in your hand, and you can do this.
Very inspirational. Thank you very much. I really appreciate all that you've shared, the wisdom, and I will definitely be checking out your book. It should be coming out any moment now. And anyway, thank you again for being part of my podcast.
Thank you so much.
And thank you to all my listeners, especially those who listen all the way to the end. Thank you.